time travel is a sci-fi term. It would be more accurate to say to travel in time, which is a natural occurring phenomena on planetary bodies. There is nothing to gain by traveling to the past. I find it more interesting. Time is not a constant, especially in these last few years. It may be a constant in terms of our calendar, which is based on planetary rotations, but the subjective experience of time is definitely not a constant, not by any question. The question I want to put out there, if you want to comment on, does a spinning planet create time? And if so, does the speed of the rotation affect the experience of time? My topic is evolution, time, and money. Evolution is incorporated in time, and time is money. This is what we've been taught. But it's not the complete story. It's better to think of money as the exchange of time, and the fair trade of time accelerates evolution, which in turn accelerates time. The best way to manipulate time is by supporting or not supporting evolution. The bigger picture is evolution, time, and money is the same coin. Linear evolution is not a constant, nor is time, not by a long shot. Money is the exchange of time, or really, better said, energy. It would be interesting to know the true demographic statistics after the Second World War, percentages of people that tethered their lives to the clock. This was the height of the industrial age, the peak of the urban development in the West. I suspect there was a huge increase in the lives that ran by the clock. Both white and blue collar jobs on the rise, living and working on the clock. Even wearing a wristwatch became a status symbol of success in that day. Let's not forget the explosion of higher education, which is also lives by the clock. This was a period where the velocity of money grew by leaps and bounds, and time became money, literally. I believe it was the industrial age that really fortified and launched humanity into the servitude of time. The more people surrendered their lives to the demands of time, the more they disconnected from the natural time of living freely in the moment. This was in part and offset, really, by the demographic freedoms that was taking hold in America at that time, which was a breath of fresh air from the previous old world governance that the world previously lived through. However, fast forward that today, and we find that it's short-lived and has been mostly replaced by economic entrapments, through economic compliance. Eventually, even the Federation of Russia, East or Germany, and China, nations of strong communist governance, eventually fell to the Western markets to participate in the new frontier of global trade. Starting with the launch of the free trade zones that Senior Bush took credit in orchestrating. As America evolved, the fair exchange of time and money became more unbalanced as governments and corporations took the lion's share, and taxation and inflation eroded away the value of money globally. It seems like a small thing, may even appear to be irrelevant, but the effects this had on people's lives was so much more than what has been realized, and the generations to follow. To get a better picture of what I'm describing here, and bear with me for a moment, within a singular solar rotation, we have 12 lunar rotations and 360 planetary rotations on a day and night. Basically, a calendar year with 12 lunar cycles. It's interesting that the lunar cycles divide perfectly into the planetary rotations. It's even more interesting but there are 4 larger seasonal cycles in a singular rotation of the Earth around the Milky Way. This is recorded in the Vedic scriptures called the yugas. These are like celestial seasons similar to Earth's polar regions. I'm just saying, all these natural cycles are completely divisible by whole number. When you look into the universe in terms of sacred geometry, it's even more memorizing, and how everything matches up so perfectly. If this doesn't convince you that there is a supreme intelligence in natural law, then you're just simply not looking for it. I bring this up because lately I've asked the question, why now? Why are we seeing these significant changes in our world now, in ourselves and each other? You know, as a student of history, I recognize that there's constants that remain unchanged throughout every empire, and yet in the last 2 decades, this has not been the case. Also, in the last 2 centuries, we've witnessed more major global events than the last recorded 2,000 years. 2 world wars, many new countries and the remapping of borders, the rise and fall of empires, the explosion of technology. Just take a low altitude flight across the United States or Europe should make my point, and it's a very valid point indeed. This is a strong indication that evolution has accelerated, which translates to an acceleration of time. The problem is, the fair exchange of money or energy is crippled, has been crippled. Well, actually, it's been hijacked. Citizens should be enjoying more affluence than ever, but it's being stripped, siphoned off to support this colossal government and the support of war. My conclusion here, well, I see a bigger cycle at play here, and definitely includes the Milky Way and its neighboring galaxies. It's more like a grand cycle of the likes that we haven't even experienced yet. Could this mean a time where linear time changes for everyone? A time where humanity is freed from the shackles of living by the clock? Well, I certainly think it's possible, and I hope so. There are scripture references to the end of time, but this doesn't necessarily mean death or the end of life. Imagine what it would be like to be free from the commitments of time and money. There's so many lives that are totally consumed in the pursuit of money instead of happiness. I think the key in understanding linear time, which is fundamental on how we perceive our reality, is simply perception. It's certainly collective perception. It's not so far-fetched of an idea when you really start to analyze it and realize it's just a common perception we all share in this particular time of our evolution. After all, every night when we go to sleep, our perception differs greatly from daytime. My best guess, this grand cycle we're now in is the beginning and the end of time as we knew it. National governments are the best mirror to view society than just analyzing regional events. Same coin, just different sides, as it were. If my theory holds true, we should see a greater increase in government failures and downsizing that has been built up in this industrial age that we've been talking about. Most of all, a corporate restructuring of human resources, which we've already started to witness since 2020. You know, freelancing, contract services, working at home are all on the rise, contributing to more office space in metropolitan cities, basically. This will certainly challenge the fundamentals of our economy and our wasteful consumption of natural resources on the planet. So, is this a race to the end? or the dawn of a new age, a new beginning. Personally, I'm an optimist, but what do you think?